Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this opportunity to come here today and try to do the things that keep the county running smoothly, Lord, and provide services, Lord. Lord, I just pray for those citizens out there who are struggling or in need, Lord. Just help their needs be met, calm them, ease them, Lord, and heal them, Lord. I also pray for our employees and the work they do, and appreciate the work they do to help our county run smoothly, Lord. I pray for the decision makers in the room, that they would use you as guidance to make the right decisions and to serve the county in the best way they can. For your name we pray, amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'll call this Marshall County Fiscal Court, March 19th, 2024 meeting to order. First thing before we get started here, Mr. Pagel, tell us about our sports teams right now.
Okay. We've had some success, and, whether you call it sports or there's some other activities that are due to be recognized in court, we just have to line up when maybe they can come visit if they want to. The boys, of course, are playing tomorrow night in the Sweet 16 for the first time in 12 years, so we wish them well. Archery team has made state, and so that team is to be commended. Special Olympics, I don't know if you saw it in the newspaper or online, but they won gold in basketball. Of course, there's some other art and FBLA. I'm keeping track of them because they've got some things coming up, and we want to recognize the accomplishments of young people. So that's what I know right now.
Okay, thank you. Looking forward to that state tournament. Okay, our first guest, we have Mr. Dusty Harrell with USDA.
How y'all doing?
Good morning.
I didn't realize this was going to be so formal. My name's Dusty Harrell. I'm a wildlife biologist for the Department of Agriculture, Wildlife Services. Those of you who don't know what we do, we handle wildlife damage management issues. This part of the country, that's probably going to involve beavers, vultures, or feral swine, and then just a mix in anything else on any given day. The other day, met with Judge, talk about a road site where a private landowner had reached out to us about beavers had dammed and was flooding the property in the road bank on Calvert City Road over off of Industrial Parkway. This is a site we worked back in 2019, I believe, and got it taken care of. It came to me through Ms. Wendy Greer that used to work at the road department, and we ended up working it. Our beaver agreements we do on year-long agreements, 12-month agreements, and we took care of it in a year, and it hasn't been an issue since. But the landowner had called back and made a point to reach out to see if I went to the road department. The road department sent me back to the judge's office, and here we are. I'd emailed an agreement to you the other day, outlining what our plan was and stuff. But as far as the stuff we do in this part of the world, 9 times out of 10, I'm probably going to be trapping beavers. I know the other day we talked about vulture issues in the area and feral swine and stuff like that. But I don't know if there's any questions or anything. Just
Anybody have any questions for him?
Where'd you say it was at?
it's on Calvert City Road. That road loops around off of Industrial Parkway. That little drainage, they dam right beside that bridge right there.
Yeah.
On the downstream side. And it's the low-lying area. It floods those woods and that little pasture right there. There's at least 3 private landowners right there affected. And then plus just holding water back on the road itself and the road bank. The road is not flooded at this time, but the potential for that is there.
Yeah.
Is the beavers that's damming is on the upstream side of the road, right?
Be the downstream side.
It's on the downstream side.
Yes. It's, when you cross over the bridge, it's right there. It's obvious from your vehicle. But we worked that site, and we, now the roads, I'm losing the name of the road. I wrote 2 sites back in 2019, and they haven't been issued since until now. But
Does anybody have
It
anything?
was
else?
around there somewhere, wasn't it, around in Calvert?
Yeah, it was. I can't think of where it was either, but it was there. Close.
oh, it was over by the golf course.
That makes sense.
Okay. If there's no further questions, need a motion for me to sign the agreement on that.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll get
Thank
that to you.
fellas. Have a
Appreciate
good
it.
day.
Thanks. Drop them off at Commissioner Barrett's. At Commissioner Barrett's, I'll second. Yeah.
That'll be all right. I'll make you a hat out of one.
Next guest, Elena Blevins, Kentucky Lake CVB.
You know, it's kind of, I actually had a short-term property owner reach out to me 2 weeks ago, asking, he had a beaver problem. So his dock is unusable. So I guess now I know how to report back, so that's nice. Good morning.
Morning.
So I'm happy to be here with you guys. I'm trying to come do this about 3 times a year, so I'll come in the spring and kind of give you guys a review as far as sort of what we're going to try to accomplish throughout the year, the rest of 2024, but then I'll be back in July to present our budget for the upcoming fiscal year, and then hopefully I'll be back in September at the end of the season to kind of give you guys a recap as to how we're doing, what all happened, and all that good stuff. So I'll try to go through this stuff pretty quick. First thing, and probably the most important thing, is our transient tax update. I've got positives and negatives. So year to date, as of right now, we think we've collected a little over $40,000 in short-term transient tax. These are those Airbnbs, VRBOs, the private home rentals. So this is money that we otherwise couldn't guarantee that we could have collected. So that's a positive. I believe we have about 150 properties registered. Now, this does include everybody. So from resorts, hotels, private homeowners, campgrounds. This is by no means everybody, because we have over 150 short-term rentals alone. But we have made progress in getting properties registered. So we're 1 year into the new transient tax laws, both at the state level and locally, and I wish I could sit here and say that it's been a nice transition and everything has gone smoothly, but that is just unfortunately not the case. Enforcement has been hard and time-consuming, and some of it is beyond our control. There's just certain things that we have not been able, that we cannot adjust to just because of decisions by other people, such as Airbnb. So Airbnb has chosen to be non-compliant with the new Kentucky state law. KTIA, which is our travel industry association, as well as the Kentucky League of Cities, has filed a lawsuit against Airbnb in an effort to try to get them into compliance, but in the meantime, it's really sort of falling on the local entities such as myself and the short-term property owners themselves to try to correct the issue. And so we actually just sent out letters a couple of weeks ago. So for the past few weeks, I've been fielding calls from short-term rental owners who I get phone calls. There are a variety of emotions. Some are confused, frustrated, angry, because they didn't know, or, and the way that the transient tax works is they're not supposed to be paying it out of their own pocket. It's a pass-through tax. It's a consumer fee. But these short-term rentals, they thought it was being collected. And so it's just been a headache dealing with Airbnb and trying to get them into compliance. And then on the flip side, VRBO, or HomeAway, they said, okay, we'll collect and remit like the state law says, but due to privacy laws, we're not going to give you any information. So we have no breakdown as far as who they are collecting and remitting for. So we don't really on the back end have a way of making sure that the property owners have sent in their, or that their tax has been paid, because VRBO doesn't provide us with that information. And ideally, we would like for the property owners to send in a form, but monthly remittance has been a lot of I've gotten a lot of feedback about how difficult and how hard monthly remittance is for short-term rental owners. But obviously, we couldn't operate if we didn't have monthly remittance, because we depend on the resorts and the hotels, to do that monthly transient tax remittance in order for us to be able to function and operate. So we are monitoring the Kentucky Short-Term Regulation Act. This is something that is supposed to be making permitting statewide. We'll kind of have to see if that's going to be helpful, and hopefully it will be helpful in getting short-term rental property owners sort of permitted at the local level too. So, but ideally, it's just getting to the point that compliance monitoring is becoming a full-time job. I provided a screenshot there at the bottom. This is a company that we use called Granicus. We've contracted them for a second year. So they have the ability to actually go through and sort of through software to identify potential listings. So they go through all the platforms. They have all these checkpoints where they're kind of checking. And then they're able to give us an estimate from low, medium to high range of what that particular property may have been able to do in reservations and revenue. But there's over 159 of these. And we honestly have to work with the PVA office to continue this, because I got a couple of phone calls this last batch of letters that I sent out saying, we sold that property. We're not the owners anymore. So there's this, we don't know. We don't know when properties switch ownership. We don't know when they choose to start operating as a short-term rental. There's no way, there's nothing that sort of triggers to my office that there's a new property that needs to be reached out to about the transient tax. It's really up to the property owner that if they're going to start operating as a commercial business on a short-term rental platform, it's really up to them to make sure that they've done the research and that they understand all the state and local laws that are applicable to operating as a shorter-term rental. So the best thing we can do is try to educate.
And I think the thing with that short-term rental bill too, because we met with Airbnb, so it is for primary residents only. So that permitting process would only affect those truly who use Airbnb. Those VRBO folks who that's not their primary residence, that bill would not affect.
Okay.
So
it's still not a solution.
It is not a solution for anyone but Airbnb. So they came up with a solution for themselves, essentially, and are bringing it. Now, Indiana and I think 7 other states have done it, and so they think it's a no-brainer, but I don't think it's going to make its way through. I mean, the only control that we have locally is the permitting process.
Is the
After
registration.
that, it's not, we can't say yes or no to them being able to do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a little bit, maybe the permitting would be a good thing, but I don't know that we have a ton of Airbnb versus VRBO stuff.
It's about 50-50.
Is it?
And some of them
That's
actually
surprising.
are on the platform, dual platform, so they're on both.
Okay.
But so, I'm the one full-time person in my office. I have a part-time bookkeeper. She does a good job of going through with what we receive from the treasurer's office to try to identify them. But we're still having to try to figure out what the best and most efficient process is to getting these platforms and to getting some of these properties into compliance. Obviously, the last thing we want to do is have to take legal action.
Which we have in our ordinance, right? Something.
Yes, we do have the ability to take legal action. So it's just getting to the point where, at what point do we do that? And then, we would have to come to the fiscal court and ask for assistance at that point. So it's a work in progress, but the good news is it is working in some capacity. $40,000, that's a big chunk of change that we otherwise couldn't have, been able to collect. So there are benefits and pluses to it, but we just have to continue to iron out sort of the enforcement piece of it. And my board has actually put together a task force to just try to really sort of sit down and break down, okay, how can, we best put together a process to help with this. So that's transient tax. So marketing campaigns, you just have some images here of some of the messaging that we're promoting right now, currently in the spring season. So obviously the solar eclipse happening next month. We are right outside totality, so we're not doing a big shindig like we did back in 2017. We'll mostly just promote safe viewing habits and public spaces for viewing next month. And then, of course, we're focusing on fishing just because springtime is fishing time on Kentucky Lake. So, but these are some of the campaigns that we do. Most of it's digital. We do run some print ads still. We've done radio streaming, our audience retargeting and extension. We also do, if we're sponsoring events, sometimes we'll run event-specific Facebook campaigns to help promote attendance for those events. This is just a couple of other ads, some printed publication ads that we did. So we had a photo shoot done last year, which is why you see a lot of the same pictures. So, all right, our events update. Since I was here last fall, winter, we did last year sponsor Benton's Rodeo, the Kentucky Lake Sail Fest Regatta, which was a first-time event. They're trying to bring sailboating back to Kentucky Lake. This is a private group. Aurora's Chainsaw Carving Competition, the Calvert City's River Folk Fest. We help with entertainment sponsorship there. USA Bass and Kayak Series, which is a new event, so it's kind of getting started. And then Hoop Fest. This spring, we also just actually weekend before last, we hosted the Toyota Series. So this had 159 registered boats, so lots and lots of anglers that were here for an extended period of time. It was a great event. Jake Lawrence won. He's out of Buchanan, Tennessee, so a Kentucky Lake native. But it was great to see in his interview that he did post-tournament that, he said he caught fish from Moores to Jonathan Creek. He only went down south one day. So that's always exciting whenever we can specifically mention the northern half of Kentucky Lake. We're also committed to sponsor a National Crappie League Open in May, Cornfields Fishing Demo. This is it's happening out at Moores Resort, but they're bringing in some pros, vendors. It'll be a great little event out at Moores. The State Bass Fishing Championship, this is a marketing partnership. The Benton Rodeo has actually been bumped up to June this year, so we've agreed to help sponsor that event again. And then we were asked to help sponsor some live entertainment for the Jeep Jamboree down in Aurora, which brings in about 120 Jeep folk to the area, which is nice. So our largest, most prominent tournament since 2018, May of 2018, is the Tackle Warehouse Circuit. So we were able to get this event through a grant program with the state. It's happening April 19th through the 21st. We're really excited. This event brings the pros, the press, and the publicity. So we're looking forward to this one. It's going to happen at Kentucky Dam Marina. So I'm excited about that one. And then we've also recently signed, and I don't know, I'm assuming it's okay that I say this because we've agreed to it. I don't know if he's made the announcement yet on his end, but USA Bassin, their championship week, which this is about 9 days worth of tournament. It brings 500 anglers here over the course of 2 weeks. It's a great investment as far as the fishery goes, and he hasn't been here since probably 2018, but we just signed a 2-year deal with him for 25 and 26. That event happens in April, so April 25, April 26. So we're excited about that. Getting that event back to Kentucky Lake. So we've purchased solar eclipse glasses for our visitors. If we have any left over, obviously, we're happy to pass those out and hand those out if people want to contact our office. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to continue the May Day Music Festival. A, it didn't make enough revenue to really garner a continued investment. B, I'm just short-handed, and you'll see some of the other projects that we've got going on, and it's just hard to put on an event. It's better when we can actually just sponsor events rather than actually try to put them on ourselves. It was a great time. We had a great 2 days of music. Dina Carter came. We had fireworks. It was Memorial Day weekend. Learned a lot. But Memorial Day weekend is a very traditional holiday on Kentucky Lake. People like to sit at their campgrounds or in their backyards with their friends or family. And so it may not have been the best weekend to choose. We learned, lesson learned, but unfortunately, so that one's not going to be able to continue. And I don't know what the future of the Ken Lake Amphitheater is. I will continue to advocate that I think it is one of the most beautiful venues in the Commonwealth for live music. And I hope that the state park system recognizes that someday. And also putting on hold the Old Beach Beer Bash for 2024. We hire a company out of Louisville to put that event on. They've taken on some new events, and so their scheduling kind of got a little crazy. And we just want to make sure that the events that we're putting on is what the community and what our visitors really want. So we're going to kind of reevaluate that one as well. So the current board that we have is really wanting to focus on our messaging and marketing and promotions. So we've got a lot of ARPA left to spend for this year. Has to be spent by the end of 2024. So we'll be kind of taking a back seat from event planning standpoint and focusing more on marketing and advertising for the rest of this year. And that is kind of my segue into the ARPA update. So we received some money from a couple of different buckets of what we call ARPA. The Marshall County allocation, so the biggest thing probably that we accomplished last year was we partnered with Benton to do a downtown master plan. Retail Strategies, we hired them. They have come back with recommendations in 4 focus areas: market analysis, policy and administration design, tourism promotion, economic vitality. They gave us some indicators and some ideas and potential projects within each of these segments. They are looking at, for example, under policy and administration, they're looking at a vacant property registration, just in an effort to try to better monitor vacant properties, who those property owners are, make sure those vacant properties are in compliance and that they are actively seeking renters or trying to sell the property, just to try to continue to keep the downtown flowing with business and hopefully foot traffic is the goal. But they also talked to just about marketing campaigns that we can do from a design standpoint, and I've got that in the next slide, and I'll touch on that. But we did the May Day Music Festival in the Aurora area. We still have either an event sponsorship or a marketing campaign that we can partner with Calvert for this year. We've set aside some dollars for that, but we'll continue to do specific and targeted marketing campaigns and then consider any research projects that we think might be beneficial to the industry. And this is the other. So they are going to kind of look at vibrancy, public infrastructure. They're going to look at redesigning the plaza area as well as public art. So, and probably one of the most exciting, the city actually did make an investment in some landscaping. So there's going to be a lot of color on the court square here over the next couple of months. And this was something that was sort of stemmed from this. So small step, baby step, but it'll be nice to see a lot of landscaping, color. They're looking at public art mural projects for here on the court square as well. And we're happy to kind of be partnered and working with them on this. So meetings and conventions, this was another pot of money. I already touched on the fishing tournaments, but we also are set to host an outdoor media conference in September. I've actually got the site visit with their board of directors next week happening at Kentucky Dam Village. These are what we call multi-jurisdictional projects. These are all projects that we are part of. Our office may not necessarily be in charge of those. So we have the West Kentucky Disc Golf Trail. We send out monthly, I shouldn't say we, I do not, but there is somebody who is sending out monthly newsletters, e-newsletters to, I think it was like 15,000 disc golfers in the region. He put together a tournament series. I believe there's one scheduled to happen at Mike Miller Park in July, so if he needs to do any kind of permitting or anything for that, okay. I want to make sure he gets all that done. So that will be happening. The Brew Hop Trail, that's another one that we're part of. Kentucky After Dark was a campaign that we're part of that actually just recently won an American Advertising Award, which was really exciting. A firm out of Lexington sort of put together that campaign. We sort of focus on the folklore and the legend of the Beast of LBL. And then the other One is the Kentucky Horsepower Campaign. This was actually my concept, my idea, so I am the project lead for this. It's the largest project. We have 25 partners all across the state of Kentucky that want to be part of this. So it's been quite an undertaking, but I am actually just sort of proud of the fact that we didn't go off and hire a big ad agency to do this. I've actually been able to work with local filmmakers and small business people to kind of to put this campaign together. The Just Add Water campaign, I've got a photo shoot for May scheduled for that. It'll be all water-related activities. The Winery Trail, another photo shoot scheduled for that. And the West Kentucky Barbecue Trail launches May 1st for National Barbecue Month, and we're excited. So if this works, I'm going to just show you guys the brand trailer really quick because I'm proud of this one. Thank you, appreciate it.
We've got thunder. We've got wonder. And we've got heart. Gather your friends and your family. This is your road map. Through towns, trails, tracks, and shores. How you can explore them. In Kentucky, we enjoy the land and the lake. How we like to work is shaped a lot about how we like to rest. It's how things around here move from the force of a hoof to the lift of a wing. That measure is somewhere in our horsepower. That's what we want you to see. We've got a huge harvest here to share with our friends. So hit the open road and experience Kentucky horsepower.
So this project features everybody from Visit Lexington to, us on Kentucky Lake, Lake Cumberland, Oak Grove, Kentucky, Henderson, all kind of in between. So, but all the rodeo footage was actually filmed at our Benton Rodeo. I actually have our filmmakers scheduled to come back and shoot at our tackle warehouse so we can get horsepower from the water on Kentucky Lake with respect to the fishing industry here. And then I'm also scheduled to get them out at the Calvert Drive-In because I just feel like that's a really unique family-friendly experience that we can offer here that not really anyone else can. So we're still filming for that, but it's going to be, I think it's going to be a really good project that focuses on family-friendly activities all across the state. So, but other than that, that's really, so as you can see, we have a lot of just marketing projects in the works, which is kind of why we've sort of stepped back from events, but for at least this year. But if there's any feedback or questions that you've got for me, I'll take them now. And if not, you can always email me later.
Was that Kurt riding that bull in that video?
I don't think so. Oh.
Yeah.
No? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, next up, Chad McCann.
Good
morning.
slide.
I don't have any videos.
No videos?
Or
Sit back
anything
down.
that is that exciting.
No
I
music,
can
no
I can
video.
come prepared next time if you want to see a track hoe digging a ditch. and
Yeah.
Water spraying out on the ground. Newly installed water lines. So I'll shoot for that one.
Yeah.
Maybe we can coordinate and
action.
get your marketing team and video cameras out there and do that. Okay. Really just wanted to provide y'all with an update today. Been a few months since I was up here talking about the water projects in West Marshall. So just wanted to give you a very good update. Project is progressing ahead of schedule right now. Project is approximately 75% complete with the original scope of work that was started back in August. Excuse me. So at this time, I've got water lines that are installed in service on J.B. Copeland Road, A-Rant Roads, the west side of J.B. Copeland Road, Elver Road is online now, and they just completed installations along Jackson School Road. That section's online. And Phelps and Brazil, those two lines will probably be online, I'd say, within the next couple weeks, probably. I know they're filling the water line on Phelps. Actually, today, they're supposed to start filling that line to do the pressure testing on it and disinfection, and then Brazil will follow right in behind that one. So that just leaves Gatlin Road and Highway 408 for the original scope of work. And then on the other side, the projects that we added to the scope of work the last couple months ago, Weatherwood and Nance, those designs have been completed, and we've submitted those off to the state for permits right now. So we're waiting on the responses back from Transportation Cabinet and the Division of Water. And as soon as we get those, we'll be moving forward, and just got approval from the attorney on our easements this week as well. So we'll be knocking on doors and getting those easements starting probably later this week, getting those mailed out to property owners and talking with them. So
How's that coming with the state? Are they getting, what I'm hearing, they're pretty slow on getting these
they
permits
are.
out.
They need a little nudging every now and
Yeah.
again. So the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So that's kind of how we operate. We need to move them along. We'll just
Yeah.
call them. We've got some good contacts up there. So
Yeah.
sometimes we give them a call. We can tell them, hey, we've got contractors on site. You know, we want to keep this going. We don't want to have
Yeah.
shutdowns and keep everything moving. So I think we're in pretty good shape right now. We've probably got 2 to 3 months of work that's currently on the books. It's already in place, ready to go. So I'm fairly confident by the time we get through those two alignments on 408 and Gatlin, we should be ready to keep on
Yeah.
moving the train down the road on Weatherwood and Nance. So everything's been going very well on that front. A lot of positive feedback. And talking with the city, I know they've got a lot of water customers that have already tapped on the new lines, and taps are being made. People are getting hooked up for water service. So very, very positive for the whole community in that area. So, you guys got any questions about current work or anything going on? Something that it will be coming up, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions in the community about restoration of the areas. We've been working with the contractors to try to stay up with it through the winter season. Of course, now we're getting into mowing season, so that's something. Even, last week, we got some dry weather, we got some favorable conditions, aside from the wind, trying to get some landscaping and seeding done on those areas, and they're gonna keep attacking that with the crews as they can.
Yeah, they was doing some out there last week, I guess. I was out through there and they was seeding.
Yeah. And I think they were gonna do it today, and then they talked about 20-mile-an-hour winds, and kinda hard to spread straw when it's 20-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, it
So,
is.
just kinda battling those a little bit, but they're very focused on it, and that's something that we're talking to them about, and keeping that up, just ask for a little patience with the property owners. A lot of areas have been disturbed, but, that's part of their job, part of their scope of work, get those areas filled, get trenches backfilled if there's any settlement, and get the grass growing just as soon as we can in those areas.
What about PB Cloud? Is it?
The first half, I'll say, of PB Cloud has been completed, and that section is online. We are working on restoration and that kind of stuff right now. That project came in under budget. We extended the scope there to South Lone Valley Road. We just completed designs on it, so we're kind of in the mode right now. We're drafting easements and getting the permit submittals ready to go. Those will probably go out at the end of this week, first of next week to Division of Water. So a lot of water going in. So a lot of good things going on, for sure.
That's what we want.
Very good. Does anybody have any more questions? Thank you very much, Chad.
All right.
Thank you,
Have a
sir.
good day. Next up, Brittany Moss, Parks Director.
Yeah, my name's
We're
wrong.
we're gonna have to talk to Corey.
I finally did my email yesterday, so I'm slowly chipping away at it all. Okay, I've got easy stuff today. For the most part, this first thing is a grounds policy approval. We have a group that last year utilized the Aurora Community Park to host the 400-mile yard sale along that way. They are, thankfully, they are doing that again this year, but they do need permission to go ahead and post a banner out there that has their contact information and letting people know that there are booths available. Typically, when we're dealing with Mike Miller Park, I like to try to keep it to about a 1-week window that we have signage posted with this specific event and the fact that it's at the Aurora Park. I personally think we could go ahead and allow that to start after its approval today and run through the 400-mile yard sale. And this sign would just have their name, that there are booths available, and the contact information for people to get a hold of them at.
We approve. What's the name? Do we need the name in the?
This is for Michael Rule, is his name.
Second.
Motion and seconds, or any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and then you want me to go ahead and talk about the grants as well?
Yeah, Andy and I was at a meeting at PAD, and several grant opportunities that we were made aware of. So when we got back, we got the information to Brittany, and she started looking into that, and she's going to discuss those with you, and then we'll need a motion to apply for both of those pertaining to the park, the walking trails resurfacing, and restroom for the Miracle League.
Yes, so there are two great grants that are open right now. The first one is the RTP, or the Recreational Trails Program. This is for the walking trails. Last February, I came and talked to you all about doing a grant. This is a different grant. That was the TAP grant. We ended up not moving forward with that because of the restrictions and the regulations on that. By the time the state road engineers were involved, it was actually going to increase the project cost so much that it wasn't worth actually going through with the grant funds. Working with the PAD office, we are hoping that this RTP grant is going to be a different situation. So we are kind of cautiously optimistic moving forward in this project. There are still some of those same road and highway regulations that cross over. We are hoping the fact that our trails are not for use by motorized vehicles, it's all non-motorized. We're hoping that that is going to allow us to bypass some of those. We'll see where we end up. What does give me hope is, and I haven't even gotten to tell you this, but when I started doing some research into the deeds and the plats, there are actually already RTP grant restrictions placed on the primary deed for Mike Miller. So I know that the park in the past, a long time ago, did receive the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant. That's how the splash pad was funded. I have never come across any documentation until this restriction on the deed, but it leads me to believe that RTP funds were actually probably used to initially put the walking trails in to begin with. So knowing that, it makes me feel a lot better, and I've allowed myself to get a little bit more optimistic about the RTP grant actually going through. So what we have done and where we were at with that specific grant right now is we have pulled those quotes that we had from last year. We had, if you'll remember, we had two different companies. We had Central Paving and Murray Paving. They gave us kind of different options of what we could do. I believe the one that we are going to look at most closely is for the 1.5 inch surfacing over the top. That would be to add, to level out those places. All of that would be included. The section from the playground down to the lake, that is the hand poured, not the concrete. That was the most economic option, and I think will allow us to move forward with the project the most quickly without a lot of red tape to jump through that we would get into from doing some other options with that. This specific grant is an 80-20 grant. So they fund 80%. It's up to $250,000 that you can receive on that grant, and then the 20% would be our part. So that is that grant specifically. I just would like to go ahead and submit to Clearinghouse, and working with the PAD office to kind of work with, Morgan is working with me closely on these as well. Since we've never done one of these large grants, we really wanted to be able to work with the PAD office our first time working through one, especially since there are two at one time with the same deadline of May 1st. So that's where I'll be the rest of the day, is chained to my desk with the office door locked, and unless the park is on fire, that's where I will be for probably the next few days. So first, we'll do these two separately, but first for the RTP, the Recreational Trails Program grant, would like the court's permission to go through the application process to see if we are accepted for that.
All right, so it's an 80-20,
Correct.
with the 80 piece of that being up to 250, which would put us at 50. Right? I mean, I don't know what's the project cost.
So the project cost as of a year ago to go with this particular option with the hand poured and not doing the concrete was actually under $200,000. So I am waiting for those updated quotes to come in, but so I don't think that we would have to, I don't foresee a need unless there are those state engineers that come into play and fees associated with that. We shouldn't have to request the max on that particular grant. Now, with that being said, if those engineers come into play, that could potentially alter that amount some, and we could end up needing to request the full amount. As it stands currently, we would be requesting under $200,000 is my best guess.
So at 200, we'd be at 40,000.
Yes.
And does it have to be cash?
No. So there are other things. So donated labor, donated equipment, materials, force account, So there are some other things to look at with that specific project. I have not been able to come up with much that we could really donate since it's, we're contracting out to a paving company. But I am going to explore some options to see if there's anything that we can get to count towards any of that. I've got more options with the other grant.
So that's all okay. So this particular one, it's been a while since we've talked about this. This is just overlay of
Correct.
versus if we had a milling machine out there.
He's gonna get there, just wait.
You know what I'm saying? And then we had them, and we milled it first with our own milling machine and labor that might go towards
Some of that. Now this specific quote, specifically overlay at 1.5 inches, clean the area to remove the debris and vegetation. That is one area I think we could probably chip away at a little bit of it. I don't know how much that would really take, but it is something. Install the leveling and the wedging, and install, the 1.5 inch overlay on it. Let's see. That would also be removing any spoils. So I think that there are some things that could come into play there for a little bit of it.
What was the other bid? Was the other bid to take up the current surface?
So from this same one, option 2 was to remove all the asphalt and spoils, the compact aggregate base, install 2-inch compacted and 2-inch compacted asphalt. That quote was $375,000.
Okay.
So big difference.
Roy, do you have any equipment to do tree root pruning?
Pruning, as you're saying, up in the air, or are you talking about digging it out of the
Like
ground?
growing through the trail.
Yeah. So, the 1.5 inch overlay, I agree with in some areas.
Correct.
But where the roots are coming up
Yeah.
through the blacktop, you're gonna have to remove the blacktop and dig the roots out and then put new gravel base down.
So we have other options as well. There is another separate quote that was more of a combination of the two. I have not been able to get back in touch with them. Hopefully today I will hear back from them. And we don't have to know today which option we are going with. I do need to know probably in the next few weeks because we have to submit to clearinghouse and I need a ballpark on the price. But hammering out the exact details of which plan we're going with is not something we have to decide right now today.
I would say after what he just had to say on that, we probably better apply for the 250.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that at all. The third option that we had looked at that we do have a quote for that I have requested an update on was a little bit of a combination of the two. So we had some areas where the trail is worse from the washout or the flooding or the tree roots, and it would be cutting those out, busting them out, and redoing that section, doing an 1.5 inch overlay on the rest of it. So it was really more of a combination of these two options, not a total overhaul and not just an overlay across the board. It's more in the middle. Going with that option, we would need to request the full 250, but it's doable, I believe.
I think that's what it needs out there.
Mm-hmm.
It don't
Can't
need,
just be-
it don't need one or the other. It needs, like you said, a combination
A
of both.
combination of the two.
Absolutely.
Some of it
Agreed.
can handle just overlay, and some of it needs to be dug up and replaced.
Right. What I will do is when I do get those, if you want to go ahead and approve applying for the grant, whenever I get those updated quotes in and the breakdown of what those are, I can send them out for all of you to review and give me any feedback that you have, and we can go from there at that point before we're actually locked into a specific scope of work on the grant.
This is related to what those two documents you sent me yesterday.
Correct, yes. I did send Jason all of the deed restrictions that are required and then also the actual resolution that would be needed. So he does have all of those to review before we get to that phase of it as well.
So the deed restrictions, I didn't, the documents, nothing stood out to me except for one thing. And that's that it's to be in perpetuity.
Right.
So the way that I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, if we apply for these monies and get it and use it for this purpose, we can't ever change the use of those trails. They
That
have to
is-
be recreational
yes.
trails until,
Yep, and that's what I understood as well. And like I said, from what I have looked into, that restriction is actually already on the deed anyway.
oh, okay.
Yes, so there is an RTP restriction that was on one of the primary deed for Mike Miller. It's already there. Yeah, so it shouldn't be, unless anything has changed. And I'll send you that old restriction that is there. I'll send you that to compare to make sure there's no changes between the restrictions from 20 years ago and the restrictions now. But it is already there.
So that means we could never make a racetrack out of the walking trail.
Unfortunately.
Nothing
But
with a motor.
we have more property. We
Yeah.
can talk racetrack all day long.
Yeah. Hot rod golf carts.
There you go. Okay.
Okay, any more questions on that one? If not, ask for a motion to approve her applying for the RTP grant.
So move.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next.
Second grant is the Land and Water Conservation Fund. This is, again, a $250,000 max. This one is a 50/50 matching reimbursement grant, so structured a little bit different, but that the same max is the 250. This project that we have identified for LWCF is the concession stand and bathroom structure for the Miracle League facility. Feel really, really good about this specific project with this grant fund. We are going to have all the support in the world from across county lines, even for us to get this grant. This one, I also feel like we have a lot more leeway. Let me start with the original estimate for this project was going to be $563,700. If we choose to include the amenities such as the trash cans, picnic tables, those things in with this, that would be an additional $13,385. Keep in mind that is a few years old. I talked to Pinnacle yesterday. They are supposed to have me updated numbers back from all of the subs by the end of the month. So we know there's going to be a little bit of an increase, but that does not change the fact that we will have to request the max on this grant. So with that being said, the great thing about this one is the fact that we can pull support from so many areas. With the Miracle League already serving 8 counties, we really anticipate being able to get a lot of letters of support and a lot of push from a lot of different places. And that goes from county government to school systems, which is a really good plus for us as well when it comes to the applications being reviewed. So we expect that to be a great thing. That number that I gave you, that does include the brick exterior, the millwork. That includes the food service equipment to go in the concession stand. That includes all of the site utilities and the parking lot lighting. So with that being said, on that grant, it does not have to be strictly cash. And Judge and I have both been talking to a couple of different people who are interested in donating or volunteering time, possibly equipment, looking at some discounts on some products that would be needed for that thing. So that could count towards our 50% match on that grant. So that will definitely help. I do not foresee us having to rely solely on a cash match on that project.
Okay, so you didn't, it's 50/50 match, not 80/20.
Correct. LWCF is a 50/50 matching reimbursement. The RTP was an 80/20. But yes, we have much more room to contribute from donated services and things like that on the
Going
LWCF.
into that too, Brittany, if you want to share, we have the funds from the Miracle Gala fundraiser sitting there.
Yes. Yep, we do have those funds as well. There is also some budgeted in the line that was more for, I want to look into this more specifically. I believe it was for the paving of the parking lot, but I'm not so sure that the lighting wasn't included with that as well. So we've got a couple of different options for that cash part of the match. And then, again, I expect to really be able to help us on the donated part of that for our match as well. Any questions for me on that?
If no questions, do I have a motion for her to apply for the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant? Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Monty, I came prepared in case I
That's
had 17
wonderful.
questions and I didn't even have to crack a binder.
He's been on vacation. Give him a break.
Did you, hey, never mind, sorry. Okay, we're gonna skip around here just a little bit, let Mr. Ford get back to taking care of business at the jail. He has presented his budget. I think you all received a copy of that. That's required by statute. And does anybody have any questions or anything on that for him at this point? If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve the jailer's 2024 budget.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That's pretty easy, jailer.
About a quick recess.
Yes, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Call the meeting back to order. Next up is Kurt Kurtner, EM Director. He's going to give us a little update.
All right, good morning.
Morning.
Just going to update the fiscal court in our community on, back at the end of November, some members of Pirates Cove Homeowners Association reached out to Judge Spraggs about the possibility of putting a siren outdoor warning siren in Pirates Cove. So we got together, went out and looked at it. They're in a low-lying area out there. They're too far from Hardin sirens and the Aurora sirens. So we did a population study. They got a big subdivision down there, and they have a lot of tourism in the spring and summer. So we had a siren that was basically just laying around ready to be used. That was a replacement from an insurance claim. So we reached out, had Jason Darnold draft some paperwork up. The Homeowners Association at Pirates Cove, they're going to pay the utility bills, so we don't have no cost whatsoever to incur there. Between all the paperwork, the bad weather, scheduling conflicts, we thought about the middle of February we would have that done. It ended up being last Tuesday. But effective last Tuesday, West Kentucky Rural Electric showed up in force. I think they had 3 trucks ready to move poles, set poles, mount sirens. So last Tuesday, we actually got the Pirates Cove siren set, and then we had to move the one from Hardin to a different location. We got both that done in one day. Wednesday, the technician came. He did all the electrical work. All the sirens are up and operational now. They're happy out there at Pirates Cove, and we moved on. That was number 20 siren that we have now. Anybody got any questions on that? So,
Good.
okay. Also, I just got some paperwork yesterday. They've opened up the Kentucky Office of Homeland Security grant procedures, so I'm going to ask the court permission for my office to pursue a communication grant, put in for some new handheld radios and a mobile radio. Mine are over 12 years old now, and it's a 100% grant, so I'm going to put in for it. We'll get reimbursed if I get approved for them. All I can do is ask.
A motion for Kurt to apply for the grant.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Next up, Brian Cutsinger, EMS Director, Kentucky Office Homeland Security Grant.
Kurt gave me the perfect segue into mine. So, same purpose Kurt was here. I'm here as well. The Kentucky Office of Homeland Security has opened their grant application period for this year. It's a very short window. The application deadline, I believe, is second week in April. So I've spoke with Corey and sent her the resolution that's required for Homeland Security that has to be approved by the court to submit a Homeland Security grant. Our goal this year is we're looking at, kind of like last year, we applied for power stretchers. The cost of power stretchers, like everything else, has kind of gone sky high. So we're trying to use grant resources to try to help get some of the needed equipment that we have. So last year we applied for 2, and I'm going to do the same thing this year. I'm going to apply for 2 power stretchers to try to get funding for those. kind of like he mentioned, the Homeland Security Grant Program is a reimbursement grant. So with that, it's approved by the court, paid by the court, and then Homeland Security reimburses after all the paperwork submitted at the end of the grant.
Does anybody have any questions?
Same thing, it's 100% grant.
Do what?
Same. it's
Typically,
100
yes. You can apply for 100%, or they do give you the option if you want to try to put in that, if the entity has the ability to pay for a certain percentage, you can put that in. But typically, I apply for 100% funding.
Okay. Move we approve the resolution.
Second.
Approve to
For you to sign the
approve and
resolution,
sign.
whatever
Yeah,
you-
okay.
yeah.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Under correspondence, February,
By the way, just looking at that, that's an old resolution, I think. It still has like $20,000 in there for the quotes. Do we need to amend that? Is that based on have you seen it? It says for any equipment and/or services under $20,000, that doesn't make any sense. 3 quotes will be obtained.
Oh, you're saying,
Oh, yeah, under. Is that would that not be the $40,000?
yeah, I mean, that's changed.
But it's backwards. Yeah. Okay. But don't you think that's backwards? For any equipment and/or services under $20,000, 3 quotes will be obtained. For any equipment that exceeds 20,000, the provisions of KRS 45A will apply.
Well, I mean, yeah. Reference to 45A is the procurement code. Yeah, so I'm guessing under 20 would just be an informal bid process, but
Maybe that's something that Homeland Security
Well, I believe
requires.
That's what I was just looking up here. I believe the version I sent her was the one I pulled straight from Homeland Security's website.
And it has 20,000 on there?
I'm pulling it up right now.
Maybe it's a KOHS thing then, and it doesn't.
I mean, it never hurts to bid anyway.
Know what
That
it's
may be an old one because the one I'm looking at right here doesn't reference any sort of dollar amount.
Doesn't have a dollar amount. It's not gonna be under $20,000 or $40,000 anyway. Those stretchers are insane.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to bid it anyway, so.
Yeah. Move on.
okay, Mr. Pagel.
Okay, I have February personnel changes. Nathan Maxlow retired 2/29/24. Congratulations, Nathan Maxlow. Matthew Crone, full-time sheriff's deputy, hired effectively 2/26/24 at $24.40 an hour. Gary Henry, part-time court security, effective 2/26/24 at $14 an hour. Wayne Joyce, part-time court security, effective 2/26/24 at $14 an hour. Whitney Green, termed 2/29/24. Corey Kirtner, wage increase from $21.71 an hour to $22 even an hour. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Next item, want to congratulate Commissioner Collins. He was recently appointed to the Kentucky Magistrate Commissioner Association Board. He is the only commissioner on that board. All the rest of them are magistrates, so congratulations.
My next goal is to change the name from KMCA to the Kentucky Commissioners and Magistrates Association.
KCMA.
But
There you go.
considering I'm one commissioner out of 9 other magistrates, it's probably not going to happen. It's worth a shot.
Gotta have goals.
Gotta have goals.
Under old business, approve the minutes from March 1st special called meeting. Need a motion to
moved.
approve. Motions, or a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Under new business, Arbor Day proclamation, Mr. Pagel.
About time for Arbor Day again. The bottom line is trees are good. but I'll read the whole thing.
Drugs are bad, trees are good. That's a Cliff Notes.
Drugs are bad, trees are good, yes, yes.
Unless a beaver has had a hold of them.
Yeah.
Okay, in all seriousness. Whereas the Commonwealth is graced with diverse forests that extend from the hardwood forests to the east to the cypress sloughs of the west, and whereas trees are a sustainable resource providing significant environmental, economic, social, and human health benefits to Kentuckians, and whereas over 1/3 of Kentuckians live in a community actively managing their urban forests, spending over $9.2 million on this asset, and whereas Kentucky's forest products are a $13.5 billion green industry employing over 49,000 people, and whereas trees enhance our air quality, purify our water resources, protect our soil, supply a source of renewable energy, and provide valuable wildlife habitat, and whereas forests improve our health and offer a place of recreation and solace, and whereas trees and healthy forests enhance the quality of life for all Kentuckians, therefore, we'll urge all citizens to participate in Arbor Day by planting a tree. I'm supposed to say you will sign it, and generations will be there will be a more beautiful Kentucky whose health and well-being are sustained by this great natural resource, our forests.
Thank you. Next item under new business
I
is,
should have said April 5th, 2024 as the designated date. Apologize for that.
no problem. Next item, solar panel ordinance. We have all attended conferences, and this is one of the main topics of discussion. And Commissioner Barrett approached me about this and recently, and we've been provided an ordinance from another county to review, and there's a lot of issues and things that need to be addressed with solar farms and proximity to adjoining landowners. And, we've heard various discussions at conferences as far as when they're at the end of their life cycle cleanup and change of ownership, and we've heard a little bit of everything pertaining to them. And I guess at this point, see if the court would like to ask the county attorney to proceed and prepare an ordinance for us to vote on pertaining to this.
So, I guess, a couple of things. Because, yeah, it was probably the hottest topic at, last week or week before last at our conference, specifically with Christian County, and I think Muhlenberg, Adair County maybe has had a few. But have we had? Are you aware of any projects that have come to us? I think the one thing that kind of surprised me with it was, well, number one, that we haven't had one, and what it was mentioned, I can't remember if it was one of the judge executives or if it was someone, I don't know, from the associate, I can't remember, said if you have a power plant and, in your community, it's only time before they approach you. And so I'm really kind of surprised that we haven't had something like this already. But I think the big difference between this ordinance and what we would have to do is that the way I read this, Hopkinsville / Christian County has planning and zoning. So it goes to planning and zoning first, and it mentions Hopkinsville / Christian County. Then after that, then it goes to the fiscal court. After they have approved it, then it goes to the fiscal court for permitting. So, I mean, that's a big...
Well, the sample ordinance that I got was from Henderson.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen one from
So does Henderson, does
But it's
Henderson-
similar, yeah, because Henderson does have planning.
Well,
and
I thought everybody was using, they mentioned Christian County up there because Rich Ornstein even said Christian County is the one.
I'm pretty sure the one I got was from Henderson.
Who did you get it from, Rich?
Yeah, I said.
I mean, the
something.
one you
Time
have is
back
from
to
Christian
back.
County, right?
I don't know what happened there.
Did you get one from Henderson?
No,
No.
I don't know. I think I got just the one from Christian County.
Maybe
I don't remember Henderson being again, Rich said, if you're going to use a draft ordinance, look at Christian counties.
Yeah, they said that would be good in the model after.
But I think, again, the difference between us, that's a big difference between us and Hopkinsville Christian County. So are we going to take on the purpose of planning and zoning as it relates specifically to solar?
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to be able to just scratch through Christian County and put Marshall County on this.
No.
Oh, no, I know.
And
but-
same goes for the one that I think was from Henderson that I saw, because I'm pretty sure I saw Steve Gold's name on, which he's the county attorney in Henderson. I think he wrote it. But yeah, there would have to be some pretty big changes for us to pass something. Now, Graves County was looking at something. I
Yeah.
don't know if they passed anything or not.
I don't think they had yet, had they?
They didn't mention anything about it.
But
No, they had a
Last
big
week.
meeting over it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Fiscal-
they
now the
would
fiscal
be-
court was looking at it.
They would be the one that I would think would be the first one that people go to because of the size of those farms. I mean, when you have a 2,500 foot setback, that automatically makes that a fairly large piece of property. I mean, I don't know that you could do anything. I mean, if you have a setback of 2,500 from any other property, that would mean, I assume, 25 on both sides. That's 5,000 foot right there already before you even,
I thought it was 1,000 foot.
there's a 2,500 foot setback in here.
Maybe it's Graves County that was talking. I know it was a lot less.
This is basically just to, at
Yeah,
this
this-
point, see if we want to do something to move forward,
Yeah.
so we don't end up like Graves
Graves
County and
County be
behind
behind
the
the eight
eight ball on
Yeah.
that, so.
Oh, I
it-
definitely think we need to move forward with
It'll
something.
require a lot of work on his part, and I know he's got a heavy workload, and it'll take some time, but I think we can have discussion along the way. But I personally feel like this is something we need to address and have Jason start on it as his time allows.
I do too. We need to,
If you have Henderson's, will you forward us Henderson so we can go ahead and look at the difference? And because I don't remember Henderson being
I think I know what happened here. In the subject, I mentioned Henderson County, but the ordinance was for Christian County.
okay.
Got the second region mixed up there.
So you do not have one from Henderson?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'll double check, but I've never.
I'll check when I get back. I mean, I'm just scanning through that one, they look pretty similar. But it's the same issue because Henderson has zoning too.
They do. So I think the one, I don't have my notes with me, but I think the county that I remember that spoke up that day to maybe we look at is Adair County, because I don't feel like they had county planning and zoning. Most of the people that chimed in that day had planning and zoning in the county. So it wasn't really, so I mean, I wasn't getting, so I feel like we need a county to look at that has done this maybe that doesn't have planning and zoning, and how did they approach it? Because that's the big difference between us and several of our counterparts. I mean, I guess if Grace County has done it, they don't have planning and zoning,
No,
do they? I didn't realize that they had already done this. Are you saying they've already done this?
I don't
or
know if
no?
they've got it done or not. I know
Okay.
they're working on it because they're done, it's done in their face. They done got somebody there wanting to build one.
Yeah, they had a meeting on it because I remember seeing it on the news.
Okay.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out what, because lives less than 100 foot is gonna be from that one house. So they was trying to, they proposed some of the panels.
Well, I thought the statute was, part of this is that the statute has a limitation in there that I didn't think that you could go under what the statute said, but maybe I'm wrong there. 100 foot is not.
You mean there's a state statute?
Well, yeah, they passed this, right, just a few years ago, a statute that no?
I don't know.
Heard anything about that? Might be the case.
All right.
I don't remember it, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Yeah.
I try to keep up with what Frankfurt does, but can't keep up with all of it.
What do we need, you need a motion just
Just
to
need a motion for the county attorney to proceed to
look at?
draft an ordinance for us to
All right.
review.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Road petition, Herman Cox Lane.
So we had a petition brought to us to remove Herman Cox Lane from the county road maintenance.
So there's only one landowner?
Yes.
No houses.
So there's an electric pole or something back there, I think, right? Is he gonna put a gate out there?
I think he's wanting to put a gate across the road, his road, yeah.
I guess they have an easement. I guess I'm just asking, is that an issue? Is it an easement that we have?
I would say the
Or would
fire
it still
company
be-
has their own easement.
Yeah.
What you're saying is we do away with this road, will that do away with our easement? Is that what you're asking?
Well, I'm just saying, if he puts a gate out there and there's a power pole right there.
That's between him and the power company.
As long as there's not a mean bull out there, it'll be all right.
So is the application has everything it needs?
Yep.
Okay, so need a
Set a date for the,
motion to schedule public hearing April 2nd at 9:30.
So moved.
Second,
And to appoint the viewers.
and appoint road reviewers. Is that one motion, Jason?
You can make it one, yeah.
Okay. Motion, second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Road viewers, it will be,
Michael Taylor, and Andy Lepstow.
with Roy. Yeah. Roy's by statute.
Oh, okay. Roy and Andy Lepstow.
Well, there's
No,
two.
two.
Oh,
You appoint two, and then Roy is automatically a third.
okay, gotcha. All right. Roy?
Andy Lepstow and Michael Taylor. Okay.
Milling machine.
Well, being y'all was talking about wanting one,
Bonnie was.
Yeah, it was Monty, it's not Roy.
just so happened, we would like to have one. And I had a price of, and it's on a state contract of $30,736.
We discussed this, and, my first question was, obviously, I know what a milling machine is, but what circumstances would we use it? Because it goes in front of a skid steer. And I'll let you tell them a little bit about that, Roy.
Well, the main reason the road department is wanting one is all these wood bridges that we have in this county. The blacktop is getting so thick on top of them, I can't blacktop over them anymore unless I get rid of the blacktop there. Or they reduce the weight limit on the bridges. So we don't want that, so, that's the reason that we need it. I'm calling it a milling machine, it's actually, I guess, technically called a planer. But that's what we're gonna use it for, and then just so happen if the park needs us to mill something, we can do that too.
You had said something about intersections also, that y'all would be using that.
Yeah, when, if you ever notice some of the paving, when you come up to an intersection, there's a little lip of blacktop. We'll also be milling the intersections, so the blacktop is even, instead of just laying it on top of each other. That'll help with the snow plows and stuff like that of hanging on the lip.
I think wasn't the figure that you gave us too is it was usually if you have to have another company do that, another contractor do that, it's like $15,000 per bridge.
Yeah, they told me it's 15,000 a day.
A day. Yeah.
And my understanding is you're looking at about 4 hours per bridge, so.
So you either take $15,000 off or and lower the limit of the bridge, which we don't want to do, obviously, or buy one of these and save. I mean, you're basically paying for it within a couple of projects.
Yep.
I think it's a no-brainer, and we have the money in, can't remember where in our carryover.
No, I actually think we had talked about it coming out of our road material money.
Okay.
Is that a motion, Commissioner Collins?
That is a motion
Okay.
to purchase.
All right.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Pagel, I'll let you talk about this next.
It's the park truck we can't
The
get rid
truck
of.
that won't go away, but it's a good one.
It's been on gov deals, several non-pays, very frustrating, so we would just like to open up a sealed bid and sell it locally. We've got this park truck, it's an '05. Well, we'd have to draw out the description of it. It's a 4x4, but 4x4 isn't full-time, it needs some work. It's got 180,000 miles, it's been used, but it's gonna give someone several more good years, so we'd just like to put bids out for it. Is that what you need?
That's it. Thank you. Gov Deals is not very good about banning people who go on and bid and don't pay for their
Don't
item.
pay?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we just need a motion
Motion
to
to-
advertise it locally for sealed
Take
bids?
seal bids.
So moved.
Motion's there, second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. County clerk grant resolution. Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We're going to skip item G under new business and circle back to that. Ordinance 2024-03 budget amendment, first reading.
Okay, ordinance 2024-03, an ordinance relating to the annual budget and amendment thereof. Whereas the County of Marshall has received additional funds, now be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Marshall County that Section 1, The annual budget for fiscal year 2023-2024 is amended to: A, increase, decrease revenue accounts, excess fees/clerk, $156,551.62. Transfers out, general fund, $156,551.62. Transfers in, road fund, $156,551.62, for a total increase in revenue accounts of $156,551.62. B, increase expenditure accounts, county paving, Cambridge Shores, $156,551.62, for a total increase expenditure accounts of $156,551.62. Section 2, the amounts added to the revenue and expenditure accounts in Section 1 are for governmental purposes. Approved by the Marshall County Fiscal Court the 19th day of March, 2024.
Thank you. Next item, transfers. Desiree will read those.
There are several fund-to-fund transfers. There's also a transient tax transfer of $8,520.62.
Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Is that it? Okay.
Awesome job, Des.
Need a motion to pay the bills.
So moved.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to go into executive session to discuss litigation and personnel per KRS 61-810, 1C and F.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Went somewhere.
Call the meeting back to order. First thing I want to go ahead and do, we need to reschedule the April 2nd meeting. It'll be a special called meeting for April 9th at 1 o'clock. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Next thing, we need to change the public hearing on Herman Cox Lane from April 2nd to April 9th at 1:30.
So moved.
Motion, second? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Pagel, new hires?
David Blumenstock, part-time animal control laborer at $12.50 an hour.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Jessica Treese, interim supervisor at $17.21 an hour.
So moved. Second.
Motion second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Temporary 911 director Sherry Clapp at $34.62 an hour.
So moved. Second.
Motion second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Abigail Schulte, telecommunicator, $13.87 an hour.
So moved. Second.
Motion second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Also for 911, another telecommunicator, Chloe Hinkie, full-time at $13.87 an hour.
So moved. Second.
Motion second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Is that it? Does anybody have anything else? If not, need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?